NFL fans, welcome back to the J All Day NFL Show. I got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about spread picks. I'm going to go over all of my week 1 picks versus the spread here for 2025. This season is getting closer and closer, and I am super excited. We crushed it last year. Our straight up picks, 185 and 87 over the regular season. Then we went on a straight heater towards the end of the year, 110 and 39 the last 9 weeks. That's why you have to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, guys. This year, I'm not only going to keep track of my regular money line bets, but I'm going to keep track of all the spread picks each and every week for you guys. That's why you got to subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. My week 1 picks versus the spread. All right, NFL fans, let's kick off this spread picks video with the week 1 matchup. September 4th, Cowboys take on my Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champion. Philadelphia Eagles, guys. The line's at 7. It's a big line. Really big line in my opinion. And that's why I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys in the +7. Here's why. Dak Prescott has won 4 out of his last 5 games versus the Philadelphia Eagles. In that one loss, 23-28 was the final score. That covers this spread, right? I just think the Cowboys will be a lot better, than they were last year, right? Dak Prescott, coming off that big-time injury, missed the majority of the year last year. And the Philadelphia Eagles lost a lot of pieces on defense. So I do think that the Cowboys, especially bringing in George Pickens, is going to be able to score some points, keep the game close. Ultimately, I think the Eagles win this game, but I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys and the +7 points, especially in week 1 division game. Too many points. Too high. Too high. Next up, Friday, September 4th, we got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the LA Chargers. A lot of close games for them last year, right? 17-10, and what's this other score? 19-17, right? So, two teams playing really close. So, this game, there's no home field advantage. Remember, this game is in Brazil. So the field last year with the Eagles and the Packers was really crappy. So you got to take that into consideration a little bit. I think this Chiefs offensive line is still pretty mediocre in my opinion. A lot of guys coming back from injuries. Pacheco never really got going last year after coming back last year in the middle of the season. And then with Hollywood Brown, they got Rashee Rice coming off an injury as well. And then the LA Chargers, oh boy, did they have an incredible draft. What a draft for the LA Chargers. Trey Harris, Omarion Hampton, pairing them up with Ladd McConkey and Justin Herbert. I like what the Chargers are doing. A really solid defense over there in LA as well. I'm taking the Chargers and the +3 points. I just don't know if the Chiefs are going to be as good as they were in previous seasons. And I think the Chargers and the Broncos are definitely on the up and up in my opinion. That's why Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris, Omarion Hampton, I think they do just enough to I think they could win this game. But if not, maybe a field goal seals it at the end for the Chiefs. That gives us a push. I like that protection. LA Chargers +3. That's where I'm going. Now, everyone, let's move on to this Sunday slate of games. And it's a great one to start off. Division rival game. New York Giants on the road versus the Commanders. Man, this Giants defense is looking pretty damn good, especially the front 7. The secondary definitely needs a little bit of help. But, man, that front 7 with newly drafted Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Thibodeau. Woo, baby, that front 7 is going to be nasty. They also bring in Russell Wilson, kind of stabilize that quarterback position. Then, Commanders, bringing in Laramie Tunsil to play left tackle, drafting Josh Connerly Jr., Deebo Samuel, another great addition on offense. Who wins this game? I like the Commanders to win, but I think the Giants covered the spread. And both of the losses last year the Giants had to the Commanders, they covered 7 points in both of those games. They're better at the quarterback position than they were last year. The front 7's even better. The Commanders' secondary still scares me a little bit. I think Russell Wilson could have some success down the field with Slayton and Neighbors. I'm going with the Giants. +7 points. I like them to cover this spread. Now we got the Bengals on the road taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals, slow starters, especially the last few seasons. They're 1-5 over the last 6 years in season openers, right? So, man, the Bengals, I don't know, man. That defense is still pretty trash. But listen, quarterback play is extremely important in this league, obviously. The Cleveland Browns have no quarterback. When you have 4 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. That's what that actually means. Shedeur Sanders looked pretty damn good in minicamp, I'm not going to lie. But can he unseat Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco to be the starter day one? I doubt it. So I'm going with the quarterback here. I just think the Bengals kind of match up good against the Browns, even though the Bengals have been terrible in season openers the last 6 years. Joe Burrow, he's going to have a full, healthy offseason with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I just think that offense is going to be too much. I wish we could get it under 5 points, but right now I'm going to go with the Bengals and the -5.5. Moving on to the Arizona Cardinals and the New Orleans Saints, right? The Saints did not win a game last season not started by Derek Carr. Only wins they had all year were when Derek Carr started. No Derek Carr this year. He has retired. It's probably going to be Tyler Shook. Yikes. But Arizona, on the flip side, a team on the up and up. I did a video, I'll leave it in the description down below, about 3 teams I think that had losing records last year that will have winning records this year. Arizona Cardinals is one of those teams. Great draft. Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, both top 20 players in this draft, in my opinion. They also brought in Josh Sweat. Big upgrades on the defense. That's going to give the Saints some trouble, especially a rookie quarterback. And you got Kyler Murray, James Conner, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, some really good players on offense. I like the Arizona Cardinals in this spot to cover the 5.5 points. Steelers and the Jets. We're kicking off 2025 with an Aaron Rodgers revenge game. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers and the -3 all day. Here's why. Aaron Rodgers is going to want to shove it up the Jets' assholes. For sure. They just did him kind of dirty, making him fly to New York just to tell him that they didn't want him anymore. It was a shit show, right? So, also, Justin Fields is the new quarterback of the New York Jets. He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers last year. The Steelers know Justin Fields, what he can do well, what he doesn't do well, and they're going to exploit that, in my opinion. Pittsburgh Steelers by -3. Aaron Rodgers gets his revenge. Like that. Buccaneers, Falcons, guys. Big news out of Tampa Bay this week. Wirfs, their best offensive lineman, is going to miss the beginning of the season with arthroscopic knee injury. He's probably going to go on the PUP list. So, I'm taking the Falcons in the +2.5. The Buccaneers do not have a lot of depth at the offensive line. So, with Wirfs already out, they have 1 or 2 more injuries on the offensive line in camp. This offensive line is not going to be great. So, I like the Falcons at home. Some new pass rushers in James Pierce Jr. and Walker, right? So, I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know if the Buccaneers offense, especially on the road, is going to be able to win this game. The Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson, Drake London. And I do like what the Buccaneers are doing on offense as well. They also kind of went after some secondary and linebacker spots in the draft to help shore up that defense a little bit. This is going to be a close game. In all honesty, guys, I would not bet this game at all whatsoever. A division game, there's injuries, young players. It's going to be weird. But if I had to bet this game, I'd probably buy the 0.5 point to get it at 3 or buy a whole point to push it up to +3.5. Okay, next up, the Raiders and the Patriots. Patriots also joined that list of teams that weren't good last year that I think will turn it around here in 2025, mainly because of that defense, right? Really good additions this offseason with Davis, and they also brought in Milton Williams to pair with Christian Gonzalez. This defense is going to be a top 10 unit, faux show. But the Raiders, man, both these teams have new head coaches, Mike Vrabel for the Patriots and Pete Carroll for the Raiders. They're also bringing in Chip Kelly to run that offense. Ashton Genty is going to be a monster, but are they going to be able to get that run game going against this Patriots defense? I'm not really sure. And remember, the Raiders now have Geno Smith a little more stable at the quarterback position. I don't know if I can trust this Patriots offense, man. The wide receiver room is still not very good, so I'm going to go with the Raiders and the +3, even though I love what the Patriots are doing. I think this is going to be a really, really close game. I think this could be a last possession type of game. But with Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Geno Smith, a real veteran at the quarterback position, I just kind of like what they're doing on offense a little bit more. And the defense will be okay because this Patriots offense isn't super explosive. So matchup-wise, that's why I'm going to go with the Raiders and the +3, guys. Next up, Carolina Panthers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Some of my notes, Jacksonville lost 8 out of 10 last year. Not great. Not great. And then the Carolina Panthers, their defense still isn't very good in my opinion. So, we had a mixed bag year for the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. Jaguars, kind of the same. I want to see Trevor Lawrence be healthy this year. They brought in Travis Hunter in that huge, crazy trade on draft day. Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. should be a very, very good unit that can get open consistently. If Trevor Lawrence can't get it done this year, or at least look improved, the Jaguars have to seriously consider moving on from Trevor Lawrence. This is a shit or get off the pot type of year. They're paying him big time money. They're not getting big time play from Trevor Lawrence. But I like the Jaguars at home, -3. I don't know if anyone on the Panthers can cover Brian Thomas Jr., and that's going to really open up things underneath for Travis Hunter. I like the Jaguars in this spot. Next up, the line is perfect here with the Dolphins and the Colts at -1.5 coming in for Indianapolis, the home team. But I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins here at +1.5 because I want to trust the quarterback. Tua, he's healthy. Tyreek Hill and Waddle, I just trust them more than whatever the Colts are going to run out at the quarterback spot. Anthony Richardson's dealing with shoulder injury shit. Super inaccurate with the football. Daniel Jones isn't great either. I do like the Colts bringing in Tyler Warren in the draft. I think those intermediate routes will be important because of this poor quarterback play in Indianapolis. But I trust Tua and Tyreek to get it done on the road here. I like the Dolphins. That's a sneaky good bet. The Miami Dolphins in +1.5. Maybe you buy a point, get it to +2.5, come in that -150 range. But yeah, +1.5. I'm taking the Dolphins and the 1.5 and the juice. Let's go. Titans at the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos all day and the -7.5. The NFL. What the hell is going on? Let's take the worst team in the NFL, guys. Then what we're going to do, they're going to draft the quarterback because they're the worst team in the NFL. They got a rookie quarterback, worst team in the NFL last year. Let's put them on the road. And then let's put them on the road versus a top 3 defense and ascending offense with a tremendous play caller. What the fuck, man? Yeah, the Titans are going to get blown out. This line should be over 10 and might be over 10 before the season starts. Broncos and -7. I'm taking the Broncos, giving up 7.5 points for sure. 49ers, Seahawks. Sam Darnold moves to Seattle. Their offensive line is definitely not as good as Minnesota's was last year. They also lost DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett's not coming back, right? So I'm going with the 49ers here. Again, stability at the quarterback position. I like the 49ers' weapons a little bit better. They got Robert Saleh back coaching the defense. I'm going with the 49ers giving up 1.5 points all day long. I think the 49ers are going to bounce back from a very disappointing year last year. They're going to get healthy. Brock Purdy's got his deal. Let's go. 49ers get it done on the road. Another really fun game. Division game. Lions, Packers. Very, very fun game. Last year, Lions won 24-14 and then 34-31. Week 9 and Week 14, respectively. Lions are getting 1.5 points. That line's about right. Two new coordinators, Ben Johnson has moved on. Aaron Glenn has moved on. I think the Lions are going to struggle out of the gate. Briefly, but I think that's what's going to happen. I like what the Packers did, bringing in Matthew Golden, Jordan Love. There's a lot more consistency there with the Packers early on. I'd still like Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams and Sonic and Knuckles, right? The offense is going to be just fine in Detroit. It might just take a couple weeks to, figure out how they're going to move forward offensively. That's why I'm going with the Packers and -1.5 in Week 1. Now we move on to the Texans and the Rams. I'm taking the Rams all day long. I like the weapons Houston has at the running back spot, what they did in the draft, bringing in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel to pair with Nico Collins. But that offensive line is complete trash. They were bad last year, and then they let their best guy get traded away to the Washington Commanders, and they didn't really improve enough for them to take a step forward here in 2025. That offensive line is going to struggle all year. Luckily for Houston, they have a pretty good defense that's going to keep them in games, but I like the Rams. A good front seven against a poor offensive line. I think C.J. Stroud, they struggle to establish the run. They get really predictable and, down and distance, passing downs all game long. I like the Rams at home in this spot. Bills, Ravens. Both these teams went super heavy on defense in the draft. How the Ravens got Malachi Starks and Mike Green, I'll never know. They brought in Jair Alexander, who was released from the Packers. I think the Ravens might have the best roster in the NFL. Really, really talented unit. I wish the Buffalo Bills did a little more at the wide receiver spot this past offseason, which they did not. They went heavy on defense in the draft. I've been going back and forth on this game, but I'm taking the plus points. I'm taking Lamar Jackson and the Ravens on the road, plus 1.5. Another game I'm probably not going to bet on at all whatsoever, guys, but I'm going to go with this defense. Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton, and oh my gosh, Mike Green with an already good front seven. Pretty crazy stuff. Vikings, Bears. I'm taking the Vikings and the plus points all day long. Until the Bears prove otherwise, I don't trust them. I don't trust Caleb Williams to not make a big turnover, take a big sack at an opportune time. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings and J.J. McCarthy in week 1 plus 1.5. We'll see. The Bears brought in a lot of new guys on this offensive line. They had a good draft with Colston Loveland and Rome Odunze from last year, Luther Burden coming in this year's draft. On paper, the Bears look great, but the Vikings were actually great last year. What were they, 14-3? New quarterback there, but I think JJ is going to end up being better pro than Sam Darnold. Anyway, he's a mature guy. They're going to run the ball a lot, establish the run, limit his opportunities down the field, JJ McCarthy, and just use those intermediate routes with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I think the Minnesota Vikings win this game outright, and that's why I'm taking them plus 1.5. All right, guys, there are my spread picks for week 1. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Peace!